and welcome to another episode of the Chaos Chronicles.
Navigating the randomness.
I'm Jess.
I'm Connie.
And today we are going over the next chapter of Twilight.
That's right.
Yeah.
And before we get too deep into it, you can find us at TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram. The handle for all four is at Chaos Chronicles Podcast. And that's Chronicles with an S.
Yeah.
I almost said .com.
But we didn't this time.
We didn't.
All right. So we left off in chapter 3, which is chapter 3 is Phenomenon. So Bella wakes up to a dust of snow that occurred during the night. The day prior was raining all day, so of course that rain froze, which living in Minnesota, we know that all too well.
Oh God, and we hate that so much.
Because everything just turns to sheer ice. And
It's
ice
terrifying.
is the devil.
Oh my God, it is scary. I do not know how parents go OUT with little kids because I am terrified of dropping myself walking on ice. The idea of holding a child? No, thank you. No, thank you.
Carrier very low to the ground. Carrier.
Using a carrier, yeah. Very low to the ground.
Yes.
I think I'd have to.
Yeah, just in case if I go down, at least they only have a couple inches to go down.
Exactly. I've been concussed from wiping out on ice. Well, that was when I didn't go to the doctor, and I really should have, because he pulled me as we were Zeus. He pulled me on one of our very first WALKs. This was like a month into having him, and it was February, and we were going down an alleyway in the cities, and it was all ice. I couldn't see. He pulled, and all of a sudden, I remember seeing my boots in the sky and went, oh, and then my head hit the ground.
Ow.
That was a bad one. I went to my chiropractor 2 days later, and he was adjusting me, and he goes, what did you do? And I was like, oh, well, this is what happened. He goes, and how'd you feel afterwards? I'm like, really tired, and everything just kind of felt weird. And he goes, I think you concussed yourself. I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, so yes, ice sucks, and that's what Bella woke up to.
Yep. So Charlie had already left before Bella got up. Bella said that living with him was like having her own place, which she enjoys it a lot, and she's actually not lonely. She is eager to go to school that day, and that's because she wanted to see Edward. Which, if you didn't listen to the first of our episodes of this, I really don't like Edward.
She really does not.
I really do not. Bella said that she should be avoiding him, though, because she embarrassed herself by babbling too much the day prior. Girl, he pushed you to the point that he was laughing at you getting irritated with him.
Red flag.
Beyond red flag. That's a, yeah, no. She said that she was still suspicious of him because he lied about his eyes, and she was actually scared from the hostility that she felt around him. But according to her, quote, my league and his league were spheres that did not touch, so I shouldn't be anxious at all to see him today.
Okay, Stephanie Myers, we'll work with it. Okay. That's the author.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So she is very anxious going to her car to not slip on the ice, which I understand.
Yeah.
On the way to school, she thinks about Mike and Eric to take her mind off of Edward. She is thinking about how for the first time she's actually getting attention and wonders why she didn't get this attention back in Arizona. She then wonders if her clumsiness makes her seem more like a damsel in distress here for whatever reason. And Mike was acting like a puppy dog around her, and Eric seemed to have a rivalry with Mike. She wasn't sure if she preferred being ignored over this.
Oh, we are heavy into the preteen rom-com trope right now of the small, ditzy, clumsy, but funny, but shy type of girl.
Yes, for sure. When Bella gets to school, she wonders why she didn't have an issue driving with the ice. Well, she gets out of her truck and notices that Charlie got up super early to put chains on her tires.
We love Charlie here, okay?
Oh my gosh, Charlie's like the only green flag in this entire book so far. He is amazing.
Charlie, he's so sweet.
Charlie is...
And Charlie's her dad.
Oh, yes. So Bella was getting choked up when she saw this because she wasn't used to being taken care of like this before.
Yeah, because she always was the one taking care of her mom.
Yeah, it's... wow. While in the parking lot, Bella made eye contact with Edward, who was 4 cars down. It always seems to be 4 cars down. He's always 4 cars down. So far, it's always been 4 cars down.
Which is the most unrealistic part of this book, by the way, because high school parking is a friggin' madhouse.
Good luck.
Good luck. You'd have to get there ungodly early to get a spot like that.
Yeah.
Every single time. But whatever. I do think, because I read Midnight Sun, which is the retelling of the Twilight book, but from Edward's perspective, which is actually really interesting because her Stephanie Meyer's writing had grown by that point because she released it after the series was completed. But I think there was a part that mentioned him getting there early so he could have that spot because it had the best view of where she typically parked. I vaguely remember that, but I could be wrong. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Well,
it's not redeeming any of the red flags.
It's not. It's not. Anywho, so he was 4 cars down, and then he was looking at her in horror as a dark blue van lost control on the ice and was skidding right to where her and her truck were.
The iconic scene in every trailer.
Mm-hmm. Yup. So something hit Bella. She fell and hit her head on the ground. Someone came next to her as the van was coming, and 2 white hands stopped the van, leaving deep dents in the side.
Interesting. There's a deviation between the movie and the book, because the movie, Edward wraps one hand around Bella and then one hand out to stop it. So the book just is like, well, she fell.
So I think it was later on, it says something about it being concaved and it fits with his shoulders. So the writing was unclear how, if it was his 2 hands that stopped it. But then later on, it kind of makes it sound like he put his hands on the bumper or whatever and protected her, and it hit his back.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly from the movie, but I do remember the part where the front of, because it was Tyler driving? No,
Mm-hmm.
Tyler driving.
It was Tyler driving.
Wow, good memory, Connie.
Nice.
Tyler, he's leaning out the passenger window, and it's against the bed of Bella's truck, or the front, whatever part it was. So he couldn't get out to see her, and there was that little triangle. Not important either way. She almost got squashed.
She did. She was very close to being squashed.
Which I did add that to my list of fears after reading that scene. I don't like being in icy parking lots for a host of reasons, but that one also being one.
That is fair. So things become blurry for Bella, but then became more clear after being drug out of the way. And then Edward asks if she's okay and to be careful because she hit her head very hard. Bella asks how he got to her so fast, and Edward replies that he was standing next to her. Stop trying to gaslight her.
He is Senor Gaslighter. He is major gaslighting for most of the next several chapters.
I've read this chapter and then the next 3 chapters, so yes.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. So he was holding her in his arms, and Bella was, quote, disoriented by the force of his golden-colored eyes. What was I asking him?
So, yeah, she's distracted by the golden orbs of his eyeballs.
Yep, basically. Edward tells her not to move, and others in the lot yell and are working on getting a guy named Tyler out of the van. Edward continues to gaslight Bella when she continues to say that he was not next to her when the van came. He says to trust him, which no, and promises to Bella that he will explain things to her later. Yeah, okay. Uh-huh. So 6 EMTs.
You noted that part.
Of course I did. I had to. I'm like, unless, which this is a really small town. So granted,
You're bored.
they probably don't have paramedics. A lot of small towns have only EMRs and EMTs. So it could very well be likely, but I was like, 6 EMTs, eh? Okay, if you have 6 EMTs on staff, you probably have a big enough ambulance service to have paramedics. But anywho, so 6 EMTs and 2 teachers arrive to help. Edward refuses to be seen, and Bella tries to do the same, but when she said she hit her head and probably got a concussion, they put a, quote, neck brace on her.
C-collar.
It's a C-collar. Thank you.
Yes.
It's a cervical collar. Come on. And, quote, she almost dies of humiliation.
I will say, like, yes, I'm imagining myself as a new student, embarrassed all of it, 17.
I understand.
I get it. Also, girl, from a liability standpoint, because I can't not think about that, yes, they are covering their bases. They need to. You say you had a head issue, and they're like, oh, you getting checked out.
You hit your head? Cool. You're getting a C-collar.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting a C-collar put on. I don't even know how many C-collars on people. You bump your head, you have a little bit of neck pain, C-collar.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah. So they load her in the back, and Edward was able to somehow ride in the front of the ambulance.
Oh, wait. I do remember that a little bit from the Midnight Sun. I think he sweet talked himself in there because of the relation to Dr. Carlisle Cullen, who is also a green flame, by the way. You're going to like him.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not, but if he uses his woo-woo vampire, yeah, I can see it.
The woo-woo.
Yeah, the woo-woo. Charlie arrives because he's the sheriff and yells Bella's name when he recognizes that it's her on the stretcher. And, yeah, that's always like, you never want to, working as a first responder, you never want to see your family member or someone you don't want to see them on the other side. It's not.
No, you wouldn't.
No. Bella says that she's fine, but then Charlie immediately turns to the EMTs for their opinions. When Bella got a closer look at the van, she noticed that the deep dent in the tan car bumper was the outline of Edward's shoulder. So, per the words that the author used, I could not figure out what way Edward was doing what. I don't know. I reread both of those areas several times. I'm like, I don't understand.
It's also interesting that they're deviating from the movie because we all know movies are deviations for the books.
Harry Potter.
Sorry, all of them. But Charlie doesn't see Bella until they're at the hospital, where Bella's on a cot and she's getting checked out by Dr. Carlisle. And Tyler's on the other cot going, oh my God, Bella, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And Charlie goes, that's enough out of you, and shuts the curtain between them.
I like that so much better.
I do. I do think that was probably better than what was written in the book.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree. Yeah, so Bella sees Edward's family standing in the distance, and they all look very disapproving or angry, but none seem concerned about Edward at all. I'm sure not.
Mm-hmm.
So at the hospital, Bella got a room, and when the nurse left, she decided to take off the neck brace, C-collar, and threw it under the bed.
I do remember reading that part.
To be fair, she is not. It's pretty common for people to rip it off. Some people, it's hard to keep them on, so.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the best necklace in the world.
I mean, it's not comfortable. I will say that. It's not comfortable. It's not meant to be comfortable. And if you're in it, it's because you need
support for your cervical.
Well, you're gonna need an x-ray to confirm nothing's going on with your neck before we take it off. So we don't want you moving your neck every which way. So don't talk with your head, which everyone always does. Like, C-collar's there to keep your neck straight. If you got something messed up, you don't want it moving. Yeah. So Tyler, who was driving the van, was also brought to the hospital. I guess he and Bella have government class together. He was brought to the bed next to Bella, and he looks much worse than she does. When he sees her, he starts apologizing profusely, saying that he took a turn too fast, hit the ice wrong, and he thought he was going to kill her. Bella tells him that he missed her because Edward pulled her out of the way. Tyler says that he doesn't remember seeing him, but it all happened so fast. Bella had no way of explaining what she had seen, so she stayed quiet. Tyler continued to apologize for what happened, and then a, quote, musical voice enters. And of course, this voice belongs to none other than Edward. So I just get
Girls
so
down
annoyed.
bad, she is.
And he comes and says that he's there to get her out. Dr. Cullen comes to examine Bella and says that everything looks fine and she's good to go home with her dad, but come back if things change, like vision or dizzy. Bella asks if she can go back to school, and Dr. Cullen says that she should take a rest day. She then continues to ask if Edward was able to go back to school, and he says that he only went there to tell everyone that everyone was alive. Whatever.
I mean, a phone can do that.
Exactly. Well, I mean, back.
No, they have phones.
Yeah, everyone has landlines, though. No one has a cell phone.
Okay, well, that is a freaking discrepancy because they're using cell phones in the later half of the book.
Oh, well.
Yeah, but this is like the flip text cell phones.
Yeah, well, there has not been a single mention of a cell phone.
Yeah, it's not. It's very much a sub part of the. You'll see later.
Oh. Well, no cell phones have been mentioned yet. Dr. Cullen then basically says that the entire school is there waiting for them. She isn't happy about this, but happy to be able to leave. Tyler, on the other hand, has to stay longer for observation. On their way to the waiting room, Bella tries to ask Edward what was going on. He seems annoyed by her wanting to talk and not wanting to go see her dad quite yet.
Well, this is also different in the movie.
Oh. She says that she wants to know the truth because that's what he promised her. Edward's response was, quote, "I saved your life. I don't owe you anything."
I'm imagining your face as you read that, just like, uh-huh.
Come again?
One more time. You want to try again?
Do-over. Yeah. Whew. So when Bella says that he promised her an explanation, Edward chalks it up to the fact that, oh, you hit your head pretty hard and you must be confused. Shut up.
For y'all not watching the video, I just damn near rolled my eyeballs out my head.
Bella keeps insisting, saying that she wants to know why she's lying to everyone for him and tells him what she thinks she saw. His response was basically questioning her sanity, saying no one will believe you. She states that she won't tell anyone, and Edward says, why does it matter then? It matters because she doesn't like lying. And Edward's response was saying he hopes she enjoys being disappointed.
That pretty much is on par with the movie too, yeah.
What is wrong with this guy?
It's interesting that that's different because in the movie, And I do like how they did this as well, which is weird because that's not normally the case. Um, so Bella gets checked out by Dr. Carlisle. She's talking with Charlie after Carlisle leaves, and then he and her walking out, and he says, I gotta call your mom. And she's like, oh, you really don't have to. He goes, no, I really do. So he steps away to go call her. And Bella, she starts walking towards a corner, and then she sees Carlisle, Rosalie, Edward's sister, and Edward talking in hushed tones. And like she can pick up a little bit of Rosalie being pissed off at Edward, like, why did you do that? And then Carlisle goes, we have company. And that's when Edward goes over to talk to Bella, and they have this exchange.
Okay, very different then.
Very different. And there is a part where he's like, why do you want to know? And she goes, I'm not going to tell anyone. Like, I just want to know.
For her sanity.
Mm-hmm. And he's still a dick.
Why does anybody like this guy?
I don't know. He does not come off well.
No. So Bella then asks him why he even bothered to save her. And Edward's response was, I don't know.
Yep. Oh, they add another line in the movie where it's, why did you bother to save me if you were going to regret it?
And that's later. That's next chapter.
Oh, that's next chapter. Oh, because they had, I thought it was in this scene, but he's like, you think I regret it? And she's like, well, what else would it be? Unless that was the next chapter and they just may have combined it.
I think they may have combined it.
Yeah. Which for pacing purposes,
makes
I get
sense,
it.
Yeah. Yeah. So Edward's not doing too good. But Charlie was thrilled to see that Bella was okay, and on the drive home, he said that she needs to call her mom. Bella can't believe that he told her, and her mom was in hysterics and was begging her to come home.
Oh yeah, they kind of cut that out of the movie.
Yeah. Bella says that it was easier than she thought to say no to her mom, but that might be because she was now consumed by the mystery of Edward Cullen. And that night she dreamt of him for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
This girl, like, I don't care if you just saved your life. He's a dick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not great.
It's not. It's really not. It's really, really not. It's not.
It's, yeah. And was that the end of chapter 3?
That was the end of chapter 3.
Did you read one more? Or do you know one more? Or was that?
I have 3 through 6.
Gotcha. It was just yeah, no, it's not great. Edward looks probably the worst in these couple of chapters. And I mean, he looks pretty not great in some of the books following Twilight.
I can never see me liking this guy.
I think the only reason I have, and I mentioned this in the other episode, the only reason I have any grace for him is because I read this at a young, impressionable age. And so, like, I didn't recognize it as the red flags that it was. And then also because I've read the books further, I'm like, oh, now I have explanations for that behavior, which probably doesn't help. But like, I'm very much a person where I'm like, oh, once I can understand the reasoning behind it, I may not like it, but okay, that explains the reasoning.
And me, I'm like, if you're a dick, you're a dick.
Yeah.
I call it as I see it, and that is that. So
no, it's good. Again, if I was a young adult, or no, if I was the age I am now and I picked up Twilight for the first time, not having any exposure of the culture, of the books, movies, nothing, and I started it for the first time, I would be like, okay, I'm morbidly curious where this is going to go, but like, girl, give me more Charlie. I'm good with Charlie.
Yes, I like Charlie. I love Charlie.
There's actually a running, it's not even a joke, because like, it kind of got a little bit of traction, but online people were like, we don't really care for Midnight Sun coming out, because this was when it was going to first be published. They're like, we want the series from Charlie's perspective.
I haven't even read. Okay, I just love Charlie. Okay, I just love Charlie.
Charlie is good.
Oh,
Yeah. And his would be interesting because he's, oh, I can't say the next parts because you may not have read those chapters yet. So, which
yeah. We will save those for next time, I guess.
yeah. So, what are you thinking thus far of the book of everything?
I think it's an interesting story. I hate Edward
Yes.
with a passion,
Yes.
especially after this chapter. I already didn't like him, and he's just digging the hole further and further down. He ain't gonna be able to come back up. He's gonna be stuck. No. Love Charlie. Bella makes very poor decisions.
Which might be the most accurate part to being a 17-year-old girl.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. What else do I think? I'm annoyed by her mom.
Yeah.
But you already knew that would happen. Yeah, I mean, obviously I've gone a couple more chapters further and I don't want to go into those, so I'm saving that for when we talk about those. But I mean, reading this chapter, I was like, well, this is what you were like, there's something about ice later on that's going to come into play. And I'm like, this is probably it.
This is it, yeah. No, it is. This is a hard part because, like, this episode would go really long if we went into, like, the next 4 chapters that follow because it starts to, like, really splay it out a bit more.
I know, which is why I was like, do we continue on the 2 chapters? Because then the next, like, this one was short. The next couple ones, you start to
Full.
Yeah.
Those might have to be a couple more chapters at a time, but, like, it's just so interesting because right now you have not a lot to operate off of. You're just getting the plot lined out.
Yeah.
And, like, once you have more of the details, I can say so much more.
So as we continue, these episodes will probably be getting longer and longer, so you're welcome.
More than likely, yes. Oh, it'll be interesting. And I will say, I am going to call it right now. I think you will like Emmett. Emmett Cullen.
Okay.
Have you read anything about him yet?
He just got introduced in the last chapter that I read.
Yes, so he's the one who's paired up with Rosalie.
Okay.
And after reading Midnight Sun now as a young adult, I was in my early 20s, I have love for Emmett. Like, he's good.
Well, at least there are people that are nice and likable.
They are. And, like, once you get to a couple of chapters towards the, like, mid-end, I'll tell you about what's going on with the Cullens during that's elaborated on Midnight Sun. And it's actually really interesting. I appreciate that she dove into it a bit more because, like, Bella's perspective is nice. That's the main story driver, obviously. But I'm like, there's a lot of really interesting stuff that we didn't get the first time around.
It would be interesting. But again, it can explain but not excuse Edward.
Gosh. Yep. Behavior again. I should clarify my point earlier. I can have things explained, and I like them explained. I'm logical that way. It will not excuse behavior, but I can be like, okay, I get it. That being said, don't do that behavior again. And if you do, that's a problem.
And Edward continues to do stuff over and over and over, and there are no redeeming qualities, even if you're nice for 0.2 seconds.
That almost makes it worse.
This dude's fucking bipolar.
I think she does accuse him of that later.
She does.
Oh, good.
I think it's in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I know I put it in the notes somewhere. So whatever chapter that is, we will get to that.
I mean, yeah, it definitely feels that way because, hot and cold, hot and cold. Oh, have you read the field trip chapter yet?
Beach?
It's greenhouse.
No.
Oh, so you did read the chapter to the beach. So I'll be the next couple of chapters.
Yep.
Next
that
episode.
one was chapter 6.
Mm.
I believe that was chapter 6 because I was doing that one last night.
Yeah, I don't remember as much about the reservation folks. I mean, I've got the surface level, but I think when you do the new moon read, if we get to that point, if you're not anti the entire franchise by the end,
I just don't like Edward at this point. That's about it.
yeah, it's valid. I think I'd have to reread New Moon because that's the one that I remember the least.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, it's definitely something. But again, you'll like Carlisle. I think you'll like Esme too. That's Carlisle's wife.
Okay.
She has a really sad story about how she became a vampire. And there was
Carlisle the doctor.
Carlisle's the doctor. Okay. He's the dad. Married to Esme, the mom, and they've got the kids, Rosalie, Emmett, Jasper, Alice, and Edward.
I'm assuming the kids aren't actually their kids.
Yes. Okay. So there's a scene where Jessica, I believe, she's talking to Bella about it.
Yeah, it's in like the first chapter where
yeah, or like they're all
adopted.
They're all adopted, but they're like together.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's very funny. But there was, in between Midnight Sun being released and the end of the series, Stephanie wrote short stories about how Alice became a vampire, how Esme did. I don't believe there was one for Rosalie. I think there may have been. You'll like her more once you hear her story and you'll understand her more. But it's actually really good. Basically, Bella's kind of the least interesting character, I'm sorry to say.
You know, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, we really haven't met any of the Cullens yet so far, so it'd be interesting. Aside from Edward, we haven't met any of the Cullens. Briefly, the doctor, but really not even him. He just came in and said, "You're good, Bella. You're good to leave."
He, Carlisle is described as, like stunningly beautiful. And it's so funny because he's played by, I want to say it's Peter Bikini? I don't remember if it, who is a well-known actor. And he's a very attractive man, but they put him in a really awful yellow blonde wig to try to match up to this description. And I'm like, how? You were spending all this money in this movie and you couldn't, for the love of you, get a good hair and makeup department? Are you kidding me? Like, there's so many wigs in the film where, like, once you actually look at it, you're like, really? That was the best that you could do? They get a little bit better in later movies, because Kristen Stewart playing Bella, she had to chop her hair when she was filming, I don't remember which movie, so they had to get a Bella wig.
Okay.
And, like, they did better on the Bella wig. At least to my memory, it looked better. But granted, it's been years since I've watched.
Well, maybe we'll do a movie react to it.
After the 75 hard, because we might want alcohol for that one.
Gosh. Okay, after 75 hard.
Yep.
And if that episode hasn't come out yet, we have an episode coming up of 75 hard, and if it's already out, go check it out. Not sure. These are going to be little bonus episodes.
Yep.
So a little shorter than our normal, but nice little bonus.
A lot shorter than some of our normal.
Yeah. But, that's okay. These are just fun little lighthearted things that we need after some crazy stuff.
Yeah, some of these episodes, they can be a little heavy. Like, Dyatlov Pass has already aired. That one was heavy. We have a Joan of Arc episode. Love that one. Watch it if it's not already out.
It was amazing, amazing story, but oof. That was heavy. And after that ended up being, we normally batch record some episodes. And that day I was like, I'm done. I can't talk anymore. I have no words. So that's when we were like, okay, we need to get some happy in here. And I was like, we like doing the mysteries. Let's just throw in, or just those type. Joan of Arc isn't a mystery, but
yeah.
those types of episodes we enjoy. So we need this lighthearted and throwing in, a 30 to 45-minute video out there for a bonus is her way of keeping it nice and light.
Yeah, it's helping our sanity. Yes. Like, y'all get to hear it with all the edits and everything put through, but when we record the episode, there's a lot that does not make it to the finished product.
Yeah.
And yeah, most of it's usually reactions on our more messed up episodes of just like, okay, no, what? One more time, hold on, sidebar.
Yeah.
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 It's fine. Oh well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that leaves us at a good spot for Twilight here, unless there's anything you want to add.
Nope, that was chapter 3. So we will see you guys next time for chapter 4. Feel free to, if you love Twilight, you can reread the chapters with us and follow along with us. And if not, well, we're just here, so.
Yeah. I was gonna say, there's no judgment when she says if you love it. If you love it, you love it.
I don't know, some people do, I guess.
Some people do get really into it.
I know, that's...
Which is weird.
Yeah, one of the girls that I go to school with, she was talking about it. I was like, people actually like Twilight.
Oh yeah, like legit, like it got weird.
No offense, I clearly don't know anything about it.
Well, she's 6 chapters technically, but like she's just starting. But I always found it weird because like I like the books and I have a love for the books separate from the chaos and the craziness of it. But I remember it being bizarre when everyone got on the Team Edward, Team Jacob, especially after the first movie. And so there was people who were straight up like grown ass women that were in friggin' love with Edward Cullen and Jacob Black. And I'm like, okay, there's a massive age gap between you, and that's an actor, and you're putting the actor's face on everything. Like there was this one girl who made a prom dress, and I don't remember anything about it other than just this image because it was circling online. She split the dress in half. Half was red, half was blue, and had Edward Cullen's face massively on one side and Jacob Black's face on the other. And it had lights in it, and it had like blue all on Edward's side, red and fire all on Jacob's side. And I remember seeing that picture and going, okay, dedication, also concern.
That's a little far, but from what I've understood, there is an actual, like, reason for Team Edward, Team Jacob.
Really?
Clearly, I know nothing about it, but some, like...
I feel like I do remember hearing something vaguely about this.
Yeah, like, people say that it's not 100% Edward, and it's not 100% Jacob. Obviously, she ends up with Edward. But, like, people were, like, going back and forth on who she was going to be with. And people honestly were just talking about, like, I really don't know who she's going to end up with, but I hope it's this one, or I hope it's that one.
Which is so funny to me, because even as I was reading it through, there was at no point where I was like, she's not actually Team Jacob. Jacob is a distraction. Like, there was no point that, at least from what I was reading in my brain, I'm like, I'm not connecting a romantic vibe there. But also, I could be really wrong, because I've had a lot of guy friends that I thought we were just friends, and then all of a sudden they've been like, no, hey, this. And I'm like, whoa, what?
Been there too. Yeah.
So maybe my radar is not the best.
So I guess we'll get to it and talk about it. But
yeah,
I know people tried to do the same for Hunger Games with Team Gale, Team Peeta. I'm like, that's never... No. If you watch the movies, it's even more clear that there's never a Team Gale, ever. If you go to the books, you might have, but not really. I remember some lady in Best Buy when I went at the release to get Hunger Games. They were like, "Are you Team Gale or Peeta?" I'm like, "Is that a question? Clearly, you've never read the books." So, yeah. But anyways, we will continue to read this, and we'll have these little short reactions for a fun little bonus for you guys. So let us know what you think. Do you actually like Edward? I'm not convinced anyone likes Edward, but I'm also 6 chapters in, so
leave your first impression of the Twilight series, whether it was reading it, watching it, hearing your crazed friend talk about it, whatever it is. I'm like genuinely curious about what your first exposure was, because that sets the tone for if you're gonna like it or not.
Yeah. Well, we will see you guys.
Before that we always forget.
Socials.
Yes, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Interact with us. We like to talk to you.
Absolutely.
You can also find us on all of our socials, which are Spotify, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram.
Yep.
The handle for all 4 is at Chaos Chronicles Podcast, and that's Chronicles with an S.
Yep. So we will see you guys next time for chapter 4.
Yeah.
Bye.